So now in this video we're going to take a quick look at the JFET. The main property we're interested in this video is the Idss. Now I'm using the J310. That's the only JFETs I have. They came from the Joe Knows Electronic Semiconductor Kit, but they're a common component. They are an N-channel depletion component. Depletion mode means that as you get a higher voltage at the gate, less current will flow through the component. Now we can put the supply voltage directly across the component here, and it's going to limit current on its own. It's going to have a certain amount of current that flows through it, as we see later, once we get enough voltage across it. That's how we're going to end the video. We're going to measure this particular component's, we're going to get close to its Idss. Now, we have a certain amount of current that goes through it. It's highly dependable on the particular part number. So we're using J310. We can expect between, I'm pretty sure it's 24 to 60 milliamps of current. All of mine are, somewhat close to 30 milliamps. That's why I did a wattage calculation here. So in any case, here's the pin layout or for the schematic symbol. Drain up top, gate, and then source towards the bottom, going more negative. When you got the physical component, we got TO92 package that it came in right there. A lot of transistors come in that, so you got to look up the pin layout. Drain to the left, so now it's on top there, source in the middle, gate at the bottom. We could put the gate directly to the source. Now, one thing to be aware of right now, we'll look at in other videos, if you put a resistance between the source and the gate, and then put the gate to ground, that will actually lower the amount of current that flows through this. But as I said before, we can expect about 24 to 60 milliamps of current. That's actually quite a bit for a JFET. A lot of JFETs, their range of current is a lot lower. But even with a particular component that you're using, the J310, there's a range of currents you can expect. You actually have to measure it. Now, there's no universal symbol. This is the one that I like. I think it's probably the most used too. But you could see other symbols. So hopefully there's a part number next to it so you know for sure what type of component it is. So let's get back to the wattage. Has a maximum wattage rating, 350 to the dash sheet. We can get a lot of current though through this J310, and so I think when you get to like 5 volts, you're getting close to about half of the wattage rating, approximately. And probably don't want to go up much higher in voltage than that, even though the data sheet shows a higher voltage. So I think it's like 20 volts, but you wouldn't do that when you got 30 milliamps of current going through it. It would get too hot. You got to lower the voltage. So just be aware of that. And here we have the power supply. So right now I got 1 volt, and this is not our Idss. Even though we have that volt across the component, looks like that's not enough voltage to get the Idss. So you gotta have a minimum. That's actually pretty close right there. So you probably want at least 2 volts across it to get about the Idss. But there, 3 volts. That is pretty much the Idss. You can see it bumped up a little bit as we increase voltage. Now this isn't completely accurate. Multimeter would be more accurate, but this is close enough to say we're just shy of 40 milliamps. And as I said before, 5 volts is probably about the maximum I would want to use, where I keep it across the transistor for long periods of time. But we're going to just kind of bump it up to 10 really quick, and then back down to 5. So hopefully it didn't overheat at all. Takes time to actually heat up, and so hopefully you should be okay. But the main thing was current stayed the same. We have a maximum of 0.042 amps, 42 milliamps. We never got to that level, so the current was still limited by the component with the voltage directly across it. It's a current source, and the current is usually applied to the top there. Instead of that jumper, you'd have a load, and that would be the maximum current that could go through that load. So the current's actually sinking into the component and going to ground. It's more technically correct to call this a current sink, but if it sets a current, then typically just calling it a current source is perfectly fine terminology. So in any case, hope that made sense. Thanks for watching. Make sure you check out one of the videos that I'm posting on the screen, and check out the links down below. They all help out a lot. I'll see you in the next video.